All right, let's see. Are we up and running? And let's get to work. So, checking in on my channel here to see if we are in fact live currently, and it appears that we are. Checking in on my channel here to see if we are in fact live currently, and it appears that we are. Volume jack. All right. Mike. And it appears that we are. Little stamped. All right. Mike. All right, that's good enough. All right, so let's bring that down, and then let's grab this. Hey guys, my name is Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, I publish them online, and you know, I've been running games in D&D since 1987. I've been using the Eberron campaign as my prime reality of choice in D&D in almost any game that I've played since 2006. And I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2017, but I've yet to actually publish an adventure. So that is what we are rectifying currently with this current endeavor we have here on screen. Crystals of Mabar. It is for 4 to 5 characters, level 7 to 8. And let's see. If you're interested in the channel, you can follow me on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. And final plug, like, subscribe. But hey, subscribers, thanks a lot, guys. Like, subscribe, bell icon to get notifications when we're live in the future. Proud to have y'all. Thank you so much. And so, this is the book cover that we created. There is a full playlist of all the content here. You can see all 297 episodes that are currently present here. And here's a bunch of the other books that I've created previously that you can check out. If you like the stuff that I do, consider looking at the books and make some purchases if you think they're cool. So made this book cover. This will be on the DMsGuild front rack. It'll be about that big when you see it. Kind of looks like a dragon. Cult of the Emerald Claw is a bunch of green dragon worshippers, so that makes sense. But all the components in this image have something to do with stuff inside of the adventure. So when you pick it up, you can Easter egg hunt for where all these different things are. We're currently making a forest map. Cheers. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so we made a forest map, so we have trees. I like how they look. We are currently working on the terrain tokens and objects. You have tents, a campfire, rocks, briar, and foliage, and a fallen log. So those are the items that we have currently that we need to color in. So I guess let's just go ahead and get to work. So I'm going to find a color reference to a tent. Let's go with simple tent. Yeah, like that. Apparently I should be getting rid of the word drawing. I didn't ask for a drawing. I didn't ask for asking for it. That's pretty much exactly what we're looking for. Cool. So let's click on that. We'll copy this. So when you don't see any color, the best way for you to be able to use color is with a Photoshop to be able to grab images. So I can import it into the computer and grab the colors here. So there we go. Hey Rel, how you doing? Salutations. Hey, thanks a lot. Proud to be alive. Let's see. Let's grab our campsite, and we're looking at a tent. Here's our black and whites. B-dub. And we're going to make a new layer here. Shoulda. shoving tool. Cloud chalk. There, like that. Our highlights, there we go. Smudge that in. Bring that down. So we'll if I don't get this like completely done in this session today, I'll spend just a little bit of time over the weekend to finish it up, because I want to start on the new forest map next Monday. So after the weekend, yeah, so we'll have this map finished over the weekend, and then we'll start working on the final forest map Monday and have that finished next week, because we already have so many of these components built. Shouldn't take long for us to actually build out another forest map using the same assets again, since we now have all of these assets. That's how that works, right? Else. Sweeps inward. See, the lines go in from the tips. Makes sense. Blend those in. Like that. Create those little tint creases. Sticks. I don't think that's adding anything to this, those little lines. So we'll nip those and we'll just add that peg collar back in, and then that'll finish up this tent. We'll be, oh wait, I found something I don't like. Cool. You can take this this tent and drop it into the references, and now I can stitch up that tent. I can delete this one, and this one, and we can duplicate this. Now I'm gonna leave them in place. Fade those down. Duplicate. You know what? One more bit. A little shadow. There, I like that. Duplicate. Transform. Transform. And then duplicate. Transform. There we go. Excuse me real quick. Something going on with my nose. Rearrange myself in my seat. There we go. Recently got back into chess over the past few weeks. I'm about elo rating of about 1500, almost like maybe like 1450 right now. I need to I should probably make an account for chess.com and actually start tracking my progress, but I used to be a big chess enthusiast when I was young, and I let it go after college. I just didn't spend a lot of time on it. Tense. I'm getting back into it. I like chess. It's a lot of fun. It changes. I like how the different pieces in chess can move together as like a group to support and move ahead of each other to reinforce their position through movement. It's really, really cool. And I like that there's like little goofball rules like en passant or like castling. The upgrading the pawn into a higher ranked piece. I love these. I love those mechanics. It's already such a heavily tactical game, and the way that the mathematics work with all the pieces together, they create these super cool little snare traps. And an 8x8 grid is as large and complicated as a game of chess needs to be. It's fascinating. I love it. Let's go to camp. Let's build. Let's find an image of a campfire. Campfire with stones. And something like that looks pretty good. That's the kind of, I think that's the kind of coloration I wanted for the stones in the first place. So, good. Bad. Good. Yeah. That's pretty much what I was looking for. So I can use this as the base color to make it really pop. See, really just stands out. It's the brightest thing. So good terrain. And then these little off edges we'll add as shading. So we'll have 3 tones, highlight like this, and then a mid-tone, and then a darker shadow. And on these rocks that have 3 sides, we'll use all 3. On rocks with 2, we'll use the medium and the highlight. There you go. Darkness and then grayness. Yeah, that feels right. Good point. The darkness should be facing away from the fire as much as possible. This one's closer. That feels good. And then we'll do just a little bit of blending. I used too heavy of a line weight. Should be 1 pixel because it's decorative. It doesn't have any, like these edges don't have any function other than just aesthetics. So I can erase them and add a lower line weight so that they aren't so clunky. Yeah, that feels better. Hey! Alright, I hear you. Keep going. So we're going to be back at lunch today. We're going to continue working on the Strixhaven backgrounds. We're also going to spend a little bit of time revisiting the changes that we made to the exploits, maneuvers, and reactions that we have for the Martial Powers document. Big shout out to Rel. Thanks a lot for being involved in the playtest, man. Also to Kitty Loaf and Alex for participating last night. Hopefully we'll have Dreams back this Monday. And maybe Hornetico will be able to tap in with us too. I'm not sure. I'd like more than just 3 people in the party, because that's a little chaotic. Like if somebody doesn't show, then we're getting awfully thin for running a test day. So I'd really like to have a 4th person, and preferably a 5th person that's like in the wing. See here. Add in some logs. So I'm here, 9 times per week currently, Monday through Friday in the morning like this. Hey guys. And on Tuesdays and Fridays, including today, we work at, we have a lunch hour, 1 o'clock PST, or about 4 o'clock Eastern time. Tuesdays and Fridays, we then work on martial powers those days, and on Thursday nights, like last night, we generally will do Spelljammer stuff, whatever that stuff might be. And on Saturday is my open workbench, where I can do whatever I want. And this Saturday, it's looking like I'll be working on the diplomacy dungeon concept for my playtest team for the new role-playing game that I've been developing. It's such a fast, fluid, Beck-me style of game. I'm looking forward to getting to a point where I'm confident with it and start outsourcing it for other people to mess around with as well. It's such a great downtime activity, sort of. For D&D specifically, it's an amazing way to run guilds, kingdoms, organizations, and your downtime activity for characters. It can be implemented for 5th edition, and any of the D20 games, really. Masterminds, Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu D20 if you're playing it that way. Basically, if it's a D20 game where you roll a 20-sided die and add modifiers to increase to hit higher numbers as your result, the system works with it. And it has character creation options for like fast, loose character design. So the role-playing game has 2 modes. It has downtime guild level, like Dominion style of play, which is the team basically overseeing an organization of some sort and having basically like basic ability checks to determine what happens to the guild on, like in my campaign it's every 10 days, but it could be every season, or it could be every month or week. But it should be long enough a time to be able to weave adventures in between the spaces. And then the events of the downtime activities, the events of the guild, is what generates the plot hooks for the next adventure. So it's episodic. You have 1 adventure every period, and in my case, again, it's every 10 days. And campsite is done. Rocks. Let's open those up. Stitch these up real quick. Hold on. Stitch those up. And call this one full. Call this one part. call this one sparse. But that's really fun. It's an asteroid belt mining campaign right now, but it could just as easily be like a pirate campaign or Wild West or a dungeon crawl or like civilization building. It's basically any framework where you have an organization that's doing larger scale activities that cycle through, and you perform ability checks to see how well your guild accomplishes the tasks that you assign it. And anytime your guild fails a task, it creates a plot hook for an adventure for your character to go in and fix that problem. And when your guild succeeds at something or makes a discovery of some sort, that can also be a plot hook generator, saying we now know this new information that the team can proactively act upon. When things go wrong, they're reacting to problems. When things go right, they can make proactive decisions. So if the team ever gets to a place where they don't have any problems to solve, they can be proactive and advance their own goals inside of the organization or the world that's slowly being built around them. Neat stuff. Neat stuff. It works. It's so far so good. It's pretty cool. Seems to be working out. Let's go down here to full. So I'm going to let it run for a while at my home table, let them gain some levels, increase power, get more options, see if things remain difficult or easy. They've had 3 adventures with 1 death so far, and so I'm not sure how sure characters are going to die using this system, and I'm not sure how much tolerance for death I want. It only takes like 2 minutes to build a character. And the way that my campaign is structured is that the characters aren't nearly as important. You can just add in new characters. It's the task they're performing for the guild that's important, and succeeding the task is the priority. So you can just whip in new characters if yours dies, in a very Beckme style opt-in system. But I've had 1 death, a few close calls. So I suspect the challenge is properly calibrated, but as we scale up in levels and our die rolls become more crazy, I need to make sure everything is pacing properly. So once I'm happy with that and the process simplifies enough that it's easy to understand, and we really button down the action economy on like options that you can perform, I think we're going to have a real viable product that I am legit excited about bringing to the table. Excited? No. Yes. Alan Raw. Oh yeah, new Umbrella Academy came out. I'm gonna watch that this weekend. I am a fan of the Umbrella Academy show. Good, that looks good. And the partials here, here, and here. Cool. I think I want to go back to the campfire. Mess with those rocks a little bit more. feels a lot better. I like that. Continuing to whittle away at these interior lines to make them feel a little better. Hey, what's up? Get up, 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 and up, 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 like head up, up. What's up, my guy? Get up, 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 and up, 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 like head up, up. What's up, my guy? We're painting rocks. It's what we do. We paint everything here. Stay between our lines. So far, so good. Good. Yeah, this will all work just fine on VTT. Nice. All right. I'm gonna drop the grid just because I don't want to look at it right now. I will add it back in when I start parsing out these tokens into locations. What's up? Can't believe we only finished the Terran stream. Oh my god, yeah, that was huge. I bet you're a tired monkey, ain't ya? What kind of stuff do we got sitting in here? Yeah, I think most of this is just illustrations that I've done already, but let's see. Yeah, these are just illustrations of my other pages. Camp. Ah, this is what I wanted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, good, good. There. I should have this. I should have this done today. Zoom in a bit. Grab a mid-tone. Maybe a highlight. Yeah, we'll grab that, and then let's look at, what about this? Like cotton or something? Fascinating. Thicket. Something's off. Dub. Huh. Okay, that works, and that works. It's a secret. I'm always... Well played, sir. Well played. Sorry, I'm turning away. Just trying to work on these folders over here. Well played, sir. There, and then 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 scroll down equals there. Perfect. There we go. And this is full. This is part. And this is sparse. Doink, 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 doink. And, ooh, that's right. I wanted to have these on top of the black and white art. Which is different from how I normally do it. But considering the small scale of stuff and that I want to colorize this, that seems to make the most sense. So I'm going to take this here and just streak it along. the interior like that. This is the coloration that we're going to do for the briars. Very simple. Just to create a little bit of texture. I'm fine with leaving a lot of lines black. That's totally fine. Just want to add in this little bit of, just a little splash of coloring on these. Oh, I've spilled into enemy territory, apparently. I need to keep that shit in mind. So I'm going to conceal sparse in there. That way I don't accidentally spill into those. There. Stay inside the lines, Kearney, pixely as they are. Can I? Yeah, that's just gonna blend into the background in general. Where did my reference image go? Danku reference image. That might be sharp enough to get away with. See if I can make this pop a little bit more. Probably not worth it, but 7:30. I'll go ahead and complete this task for the up close looks. I know it doesn't matter at the larger scale, but it seems to do okay at this level. Just want to fill all these things in. We're really close to time today. I'd like to. I'll have this. I mean, we're gonna start on the next piece on Monday. I'd like the idea of finishing out the coloration here and then start dispersing these obstacles into the forest. For like over here would be a good place to have a briar, and like I can have extra foliage over here where these trees want to get closer together. That's a good place for us to stack up little bundles of obstacles to mess around with your action economy, like movement through those areas, making this clearing that much more prevalent of a clearing, you know? But I don't think I'm going to have time to get to it this morning. I've been sleeping a lot more lately. and that's probably because my body wants it and needs it, and I want to honor that. But boy, it's messing with my production schedule. I was getting a solid 2 hours in the mornings, and lately it's been more like around 80 minutes to an hour. So it's a slowing of production to a certain extent, but I just got to pace myself with wherever I'm at, I guess. But disappointing to me that I'm not working as much as I want. All right, my guy. It's good to see you, my guy. I'm glad you're around. So what are the 5 roles in a D&D group? You told me about the shaman, the leader, the soldier, and the trickster, basically. So there's the leader is the person that the team. So when you have a small team of people, like 3 to 5, maybe 6, it starts breaking down after 6. But when you have small teams of people like that, there's a social hierarchy that naturally gets built, and a good team will have a blend of these different roles. So the leader is the one that ultimately people defer to about making decisions. They either have the strongest personality, the most experience, or some other dynamic that makes people want to pay attention to them. But normally it's force of personality or experience that dictates who calls the shots. So that person is like, when in doubt, this person will decide what the team is going to do. Though they aren't necessarily a tyrant or even aware that that's the role that they're playing, it's obvious from the DM's side of the table. As people interact with each other, you can see where different cues are coming from. The shaman role that I call it is more like a vizier than anything else. This is the person that will most effectively change the mind of the leader's decision. They're either like, if the leader is rational, the shaman will encourage them to be more brash. If the like to make decisions more quickly, to call the ball on stuff. But that's not hemming and hawing is not a typical feature of a leader. The leader is the one that typically makes decisive, is decisive, absolutely makes a decision. It's the shaman role is somebody who often has as much, if not more, experience than the leader, that offers suggestions or can cite examples of how things go wrong. They're a guide, right? They're like a mentor, sort of, but they don't have authority. Like a mentor has authority. A shaman has experience and is respected by the leader and the group in general, and can substitute as a leader when necessary. But more than anything, doesn't want the spotlight, but has the experience to know when things are going to go wrong. So counsel, more than anything else, but I just call them shamans. Then there's soldiers, which are people that can have varying levels of competence that are only interested in managing their own paperwork. Like, it's my character's turn. I'm going to button down. I know what my character is going to do. This is the general role of new players that are still trying to get a grip on how the game works, and it's also people that don't want a lot of engagement, that are there just to show up. It's a general milieu sort of person. And then there's the trickster / omega. These can also count as heavy thespians that generally want to derail the current plot line, the current tasks that the characters are attempting to perform. They'll either they will often diffuse situations with jokes, or create tangents into things that might be quote unquote fun to do but aren't productive, right? So the trickster will clash with the sensibilities of the shaman and distract or derail decision making from the leader, and can rile up the soldiers, the troops as it were. You can rile them up into shenanigans and get them off rail, like having a tangential conversation with a merchant That's trickster activity, because you're derailing away from a plot of progression in the storyline to defer to having fun or diving deeper into a character's backstory, or however you want to express that. But those are basically the 4 roles that I identify in a party. And like when somebody like is really passive and doesn't want to take a lot of initiative in the team, that's typically going to be like your soldier type. People that are more outspoken, but not from a thespian shenanigans sort of view, but towards like tactical, getting things done efficiently. That's more of a leader role, because they're pushing people forward, or they're trying to cite things. If a party has more than one leader at the table, you're going to see it pretty quickly, because they're going to be offering often counter suggestions on what to do. Not because there might be a better idea that wasn't considered, but simply because the non-dominant leader is attempting to assert dominance in the social hierarchy of the group by making suggestions that the team as a whole will be able to vote down the authoritarian decisions that the leader makes. The leader isn't attempting to be authoritarian in most circumstances. They just have a lot of charisma and naturally gravitate towards leadership or decision-making roles in groups. You see them all the time. And so the shaman will generally try to support the leader and exert power by providing like counterpoints or cautions, or did you consider blah, while the trickster will just like ignore any kind of decorum and will just go on a tangent. Or will find whatever task that they're doing right now, if they're bored with the task, they'll find a way to make it amusing for themselves. The trickster is necessary to break tension. They also tend to be the most people pleaser types. They want the table to get along. They want people to have a good time. They don't want somebody pushing other people around on a table. So I generally take the role of trickster or shaman, depending on the composition of the team and what's necessary. And I'm hyper aware of those roles when I'm playing myself. When I also am playing is what I want to say. Like when I have a character on the board, and I'm in these, and I'm inserted into these small groups. This is the way that I think about it. Like what roles do we see are prevalent? What's being handled solid, and so how can I fall back in? If that makes sense. So when you're at a table or you're running with people, you can sort of see what role these different people have. And by the way, it's really rude to call out and tell people to their face what kind of a role that they think they have, because most of the time they don't see it that way, and they might not necessarily even like the labels that are being used in these circumstances. This is just something that the DM can observe to help better understand. Like if I want the plot to move forward, I need to have the leader on board. If I can't get them to move, then I can shift to the Omega. Or the trickster, and ask them what kind of shenanigans are they up to. They'll be more than happy to embellish upon that. So you're normal, but as a DM, you want to give attention to all your players. So recognizing a soldier is just there to do their job. Having a like how I establish an initiative order. Outside of combat, so when combat begins, we're already in initiative, and I just simply start asking you, what do you want to do? And you use in combat action economy, because that's the gear that we shifted into, but I don't have to break it up with an initiative roll. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I'm just going to go with that. Got our rocks, we've got our twigs. Let's take care of our log. W. Hopefully that made some sense. It's not a huge topic, you know. But it's useful to be able to understand, to be able to recognize those differences. Yeah, that looks like a good log color, good base. No, you just play your natural role. You're a new player. You just following your instincts is fine. Your actual role, like, it's really advanced to try to choose a role to play and then assert yourself into the group. It might not be a natural fit for you. And I honestly, as a DM, I don't like tricksters much at all. They in a playtest, tricksters aren't really necessary. Tricksters are for ongoing campaigns with evolving storylines that are long form campaigns where the actual drama and development of a storyline is important. In a playtest, it's more about slinging like whatever. Like in this playtest, we're just basically fighting monsters, slinging mana around, and making ability checks to see how well the system interacts with all these things, and how fun can we make the activities of playing the game. It's much less about the actual storyline. Of all things, the trickster role is something that becomes more and more prevalent the more story there is. The less gamification activities that the team is performing, the more time spent in conversation, the more prevalent the trickster will become. Because the game is leaning itself towards narrative and like character interaction and thespian activities. That's where the trickster really shines. They're the ones that like get bored easily of like downtime activity. Let's cause some trouble because I'm bored. Or like we're spending too much time in this room exploring stuff. I'm bored. I'm going to see if I can break something. You know, that sort of thing. If that's a role that you naturally gravitate towards, you'll find it. But the idea of picking a role and like choosing to play a role might be foreign to how you naturally engage in group dynamics. And once you, I generally would say, once you have a better understanding of just role playing in general and being part of a team, that's when you'll be able to have more opportunity of actively choosing what kind of role do you want. But yeah, if one of those roles feels right and you naturally gravitate towards it, you don't have to pressure it. Just observe how you're feeling that role, or like, do you feel passive? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling like you lack direction? Is pacing slow? These are things that will drive the natural instinctive decisions that you make and how you interact with other people in the party to move the adventure at the pace or direction that you as a player want to go. And if you find yourself a player as somebody is like, I don't really care what direction we go in, I just want to have fun with the rest of the team and just see what happens, that's more of a soldier's rule. But if you get anxious, then yeah, you might have trickster in it. But that could also be shamanistic mentality of this is not from like caretake. Like a trickster is less interested about caretaking the team, and more interested in just being entertaining or being entertained. But is really good at breaking log jams. A shaman might not do that. A shaman will try to suss through a chosen course of action and make that action work. The trickster is more likely to decide this action isn't working. I'm going to change the beat by going in a different direction or forcing more die rolls in a new idea, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't look for anyone to choose to play any particular role. I just like to see how they emerge. But just being aware that they exist is often useful. So you be you, man. You'll naturally find what you want to do and how you play. And yeah, we're gonna do like this. Yeah, that feels good. There, that feels good. Drop in some dark here. Dark in here. Here. There, good. Ba, ba, ba. I'm gonna put some streaks in here. Break up the log a little bit. Oh shit. 740. Alright, let's give ourselves another. I can afford another 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna have to bounce. I spy with my eye. There's some text going on over there. Give me a second. I'll get to you. So, okay, so what are some red flags that you need to look out for when it comes to avoiding a group or kicking somebody out from your group? That's a great question. I'm not sure how efficiently I can answer that, but I can certainly ramble about it a little bit. First thing that you want to do is you want to look out for selfish behavior. Is somebody willing to is somebody else willing to put somebody is one person willing to put down other people at the table for their own amusement? If you have a bully like that, that's inexcusable. Everyone, if you are incapable of treating everyone at the table with respect, then you should not be at that table. And if you can't come to that realization yourself, it's ultimately the DM's responsibility to make that determination and get rid of the offending player, regardless of what they might otherwise bring to the table. Spotlight hogging is a form of bully, but it's often only because whoever's hogging the spotlight is really enthusiastic about what they're doing, and they often don't realize they are overpowering. They're pushing their personality too far into the rest of the team. People that will make suggestions about what you should do with your turn. Tables have different levels of tolerance for that. Some tables, like with new players, a mix of new and veteran players, it's often the veteran will point out what the team can do, mostly because they can see the mechanics and combinations that are capable in whatever the game is that the new player might not be aware of yet, and the suggester is enthusiastic and excited about like a combo that gets set up, but you have to know how the game works to see the combo. This advice giver would be anxious to tell, hey, you could do this, blah blah blah, if you're interested, and so they have to really be careful to not be overbearing. If somebody is basically stomping on somebody else's fun too frequently, that's somebody that would need to be kept in check. Again, abuse is completely intolerable, because this is all a volunteer army of people showing up, and unless you enjoy being abused, abusive behavior absolutely cannot be tolerated at the table. Cheaters, significant problem there. People that cheat their die rolls are people that want to win. They wouldn't cheat their die rolls if they didn't want to win, and if they can't be mature enough to understand and recognize that when your dice are making you quote unquote lose or take damage or aren't achieving the things that you're supposed to do, that is part of the story, that your plans won't always work and you have to adapt to those changes. People that cheat their die rolls are generally people that don't want to be told no, don't want to have to adapt, are rigid, and are more likely to abuse other people if they find that like if you're willing to cheat your die rolls, you're most likely willing to cheat your conversations and relationships with people. You're more likely willing to lie to other people because you're willing to fudge die rolls in the first place. So they're untrustworthy, and they do not deserve your friendship if they are cheating liars, because that's how they're going to treat your friendship. They could be pickpockets. They could end up being, shoplifters that get you in trouble. You have to keep your eye on that kind of stuff. It's important. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. People that want to argue with the DM are also people that want to win, and they want to be able to rely on the rules that exist to win, and they aren't open to improvisation. The general consensus has been that if you don't know what a rule is while you're at the table, the DM just makes the DM's going to make the decision, and then there could be a later follow up on like what's a good rule to lock down in the future. But people that want to argue with the DM for the decisions that they're making, because like say they remember the rule and they don't need to improvise it, most of the time, I'm not gonna say most of the time, but a lot of times, the way that the optimizer or the cheater remembers a thing to be is often not how it actually is, and they're using their supposed authority to get what they want as opposed to playing the game straight. There's a big difference. A lot of times cheaters are going to bend their memory of rules and conveniently not adhere to the system as it stands, because it's convenient for them to forget. and until they get called out on it, they can persist that way. And that's some real dishonest behavior. So those are the type of people that I tend to invite to leave. And generally, I'm under the mentality or the belief that you know what you're doing. You can feign ignorance once, but after that, it's the responsibilities are on you to be straight with in your dealings with other people. Because the cheaters thrive in ambiguity or intention. They can use that as a saving grace to get out of trouble. They don't want to change their behavior. They just don't want to be in trouble. So when your instincts are telling you somebody's fucking around and being insincere, chances are they are, and what you're picking up on, they're attempting to use a decoy defense tactic to get out of personal responsibility. And it's not necessarily the player's role to call it out to another player, unless that's something that's been established. That's a good thing to establish in your session 0. How do you engage in disputes with other players? Normally, the default is the DM is going to arbitrate. The DM is the manager of the table. You hire and fire people into your game. You penalize and reward the player's participation and interaction, cooperation, and engagement with the content. So whether you want to be the quote-unquote boss or not of a table, the DM is the manager. And you do have the authority to not invite people back to your game. And I put a lot of weight in the way that a player acts at a table. I often form my decision on whether someone's going to be a friend or not by how they play games. That's also like why golf is so big amongst business people, because when things don't go right, it gives away how you handle problems, how you handle victories, how you recognize other people's achievements. Golf is a really interesting metaphor for business, which is why so many people in business want to spend time on the golf, like when they're doing deals and deciding partnerships, they want to golf. It sounds stereotypical, but it's legit. People tell you who they are. They tell, quote unquote, they tell on themselves. Oh, am I in the wrong space? Oh, I see. I fucked up again. Let's go with full, part, sparse. I hear you. There. Full, and then part. I'm gonna finish off these. I'm gonna finish off these leaves, and then I'm gonna cut for the day. And then, well, for this morning, I'll be back this afternoon at lunchtime. That'll be probably like around 1:30 here in Seattle, 4:30 on the East Coast. It's almost 8 o'clock now. So that'll be like in what, like 5.5 hours. I'll take my lunch. There we go. Yeah, I'll be back around for an hour. That should hopefully be sufficient for me to finish the tasks. There we go. Last text. Did I appear as a cheater? No, God no. Why would you even think that? Why were you cheating? If I thought you were cheating, I would have already dealt with you. You would know it. I feel like I think I want to put something underneath these. I'm going to leave this here for now. And I'm going to and I am going to finish these over the weekend. I mean, technically, I want to put some darkness underneath, like on the ground, like shadow, to help make these things pop out a little bit more in this terrain. But otherwise, I like how like the log shows up easy, the tents show up easy, the campfire shows up easy. This is all pretty good stuff to me. I just want to darken up these terrain tokens so they stand out a little bit more. So. No, that's okay. Dude, you're brand new. It's okay. It's your first game. You ran incredibly well for your first game. I don't know, man. There was nothing that was sticking out to me that you were doing wrong. You're sounds like you're trying to police yourself and keep yourself straight, and that's all I could really ask, honestly. All right, so that's going to be it for now. I'm going to be back in about 5.5 hours for us to continue working on the Martial Powers Strixhaven backgrounds and to revisit the exploits, maneuvers, and reactions. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning as well to probably work on the diplomacy dungeon adventure a little bit more, and then maybe do some Spelljammer stuff, or I don't know, maybe some Rebel Belt stuff. We'll see. But that is it for now. So thanks, Rel, specifically, thanks a lot for hanging out. And anyone else that's checking this out in the future, like, subscribe, bell icons, you know how it works. Would love to have you around and jump in and chat with us. So see you guys later.